Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel, or if this is your first time here, welcome. My name is Dana. I'm so happy to have you. In today's video, I'm going to be reviewing and demoing a foundation for you that I've been loving for the last couple weeks. Actually, it's been, I think, about 2 weeks now. Now, this isn't new to the market, but it's something that recently caught my eye on Instagram. I think I actually tried one of her highlighters a really long time ago that I got from, I think it was the makeup, it wasn't IMAT, so it must have been the makeup show. However, I've been drooling over her artistry over on Instagram. I'll be sure to link her handle down below. I'm sure many of you guys are already familiar with her, Danessa Myricks. She does skin and eye looks like no other. I mean, she does entire faces beautifully, but just the finish of her skin and just like the glossy eye looks that she creates are just mesmerizing. I'm obsessed with her work. So I decided to order her foundation. I actually ordered one of her Color Fix foils too. I think I'm gonna feature that in my next video though, just because I didn't really put it on today and I definitely want to demo it just so you guys can see how it looks I was gonna say in person, but I guess on camera. So today we're gonna be talking about her Vision Cream Cover Foundation. I have mine in the shade N04. It comes in 29 different shades. This is a full size. You get 0.53 fluid ounces and it retails for $28. Or you can actually go on her site and order a sample size for $5. In that you get 0.3 fluid ounces. Now, as you will see shortly here in the demo, this foundation covers everything. It's a foundation and concealer in one. Originally, when I was on her site before I did like further research, I was wondering, I was like, why is there only a foundation and no concealer? Then I used this, now I understand. But it does actually come in a different packaging as well. I'm not sure if it's the exact same formula. From what I read, I'm pretty sure that it is. For whatever reason, it comes in like a couple less shades. That one is called the Perfecting and Shaping Wand. It retails for $21. All of them are 100% vegan and cruelty-free. So she describes this, I have notes, sorry, I have to cheat a little bit, but I just wanna make sure that I get it right. As a hybrid lightweight cream foundation that achieves a radiant, silky smooth finish formulated with hydrating and protective vitamin E. She also mentions that it's formulated with low density hydrating ingredients that inspire high impact pigments with featherweight texture. Featherweight just sold me pretty much right away. Now, I have been wearing this foundation for about the last 2 weeks, just really going in and testing it, which I was pretty proud of myself because typically I'm not someone who goes for like very full coverage foundations. But what I like about this is it's one that you could definitely go in. Honestly, you could do this with any, I guess, high coverage foundation. But sometimes with some foundations, whether they're like water-based or oil-based, sometimes they don't mix well. I've been testing this foundation with all sorts of different primers. An oil primer, like a really heavy silicone primer, a more like illuminating gel-like primer, and I haven't had issues with any of them. So I think whatever preference you have with primers, it'll mix great with that. One thing that I did want to talk about though is that she mentions mixing this foundation with her Prism FX hydrating lotion. It comes in 2 different color varieties. There's peach and then there's original. Just after watching her Instagram stories, I can't say if the exact formula is the same, like the texture, but I will say the finish on the face looked so similar to one of my Holy Grail primers, the VDL Lumi Layer Primer. I have backups of these in my collection, and I know I'm happy with this, and I just didn't feel the need to purchase that product, but she does have other liquid illuminators that kind of look similar to the Becca, I have one right here. I always forget the name, Shimmering Skin Perfectors, but hers seem to have more of an opaque quality to them. You can still mix them, but I don't know, her color range looked really interesting in that. So I am kind of intrigued in picking up one of those. She also had mini sets too, that way you could try out several different shades. A lot of her products are all about being used on like the eyes, lips, and face. I love that. She said that's where a lot of her artistry came in, is she was a self-taught makeup artist, and in the beginning, she didn't have a big kit. So she really learned to go in and mix and match products just to create like the perfect finish. Her work is just phenomenal. If you guys don't follow her on Instagram, you must. If you guys happen to have any other recommendations from Danessa Myricks Beauty, I would love to hear all about them down below. Her highlighting palettes look incredible as well, but this is where I really wanted to start off just with like complexion products. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into the demo now, since I've been keeping you here for forever and a day. It's what I do best. So as I had mentioned earlier, I thought that just appearance-wise, the VDL Lumi Layer Primer gave the same effect as the Prism FX hydrating lotion. So I'm just gonna go in and apply this all over. I have seen Danessa go in and actually physically mix the foundation with her Prism lotion as well, or just use it as the base. So I just figured I would go in and use my VDL Lumi Layer like I normally do, just as a primer. I talk about this one all the time. I love it. Okay, so now going in with the foundation, after using this for almost 2 weeks. I definitely find that the best way to apply it is onto the back of my hand and then dip, whether I'm using my fingers, sponge, or brush, a combination in that way and working section by section. Just because if you dip your sponge or brush straight in and then buff it out, the amount of pigmentation in this product, it just spreads and spreads and spreads, which is a good thing. But if you're someone like me and you really like to work in sections, I just find this way to be the best. Not even one full pump. I didn't even go down all the way. This was probably too much. You'll see in a minute what I mean. So I'm just gonna take a tiny bit on my finger first, and I always start on this side by habit, but I'm gonna start over here just so you can really see how if you wanna go in with a full layer, this can completely cover redness, freckles, and something about it somehow smooth texture too. So I don't want to say that it has a moussey texture because I really don't like that, but it has this really smoothing, silky type of feel, but it does it while still being weightless. Typically when you find foundations like that can be really smoothing, they have that very heavy dimethicone type of texture. This doesn't have that. If you did just want to go in with your fingers and tap it in, you can get max coverage. Obviously, if you wanted even more coverage than that for whatever reason, then you could go in with a second layer. But what I like to do is tap it in with my fingers first, and then just to shear it out a bit, I go in with a sponge. If you wanted a maximum coverage like this, you could just keep it with your fingers, tap it in, or go in with a brush, but that's just a lot of coverage for me. Even after going in with a sponge, you still get a ton of coverage where it cancels out any weird imperfections or discoloration, but I just don't like a full-on, like cover everything in sight type of look. So I just like to go in with a sponge and really kind of press it into the skin and just lightly shear it out. As you can see, it's still very full coverage. On your forehead, you barely need any. That was probably way too much. And do you see how much I still have left on my hands? That's what I mean. The tiniest bit goes a long way. So I think if you were to go in and just order several of the samples in like your tan shade, your normal shade, or if you just wanted to use some shades for contouring, I think the samples would go a long way. When I first ordered it and I saw the bottle, I was like, oh, it's kind of smaller. Like I knew it wasn't going to be a full ounce, but I can totally understand why. I don't think you'd be able to get through the whole thing unless you were a makeup artist and you had a ton of clients where you were using it every single day. But just for personal use, a tiny, tiny drop goes such a long way. All right, so there is just half of my face so you guys can see it side by side. Over here, we just have some redness. We still have freckles, but then over here, it's just everything, it just looks smooth, and I just really love the finish of it. The only areas where I go in and set it with powder is on my under eyes, just because with all the fine lines and creases and crinkles down there, I notice that after a little bit of time it does start to settle in there, but with this sort of coverage there's no need to go in with any additional concealer. It truly is a foundation and concealer in one. All right, so after doing my full face, this is how much foundation I have left. That's probably about half the amount from the like 3/4 of a pump that I did. So next time I think maybe like half a pump or a quarter of a pump will be the perfect amount, just because this foundation truly is like pure pigment. The tiniest bit goes such a long way. So now I'm not going to go in with any concealer, but I am going to go ahead and just lightly set my under eyes. For that, I've just been kind of taking whatever setting powder, trying my best to finish up some of my other powders. So I have the Maybelline Master Fix Studio Powder. There's just a tiny bit more in here. It's just a traditional translucent powder. I'm just going to take the tiniest bit and set that area. And then I do like to just go right here around my nose, just because that is an area that I sometimes get some redness. So just to keep that at bay, and then whatever's left, I'm just gonna go ahead and press that onto my smile lines and my chin. Everywhere else, actually no, one more spot. Let's go on to the lower portion of my face. If you have oily skin, you probably would want to set this all over, but if you're normal to dry, honestly, it's fine as is, unless you're just kind of wanting to diminish a little bit of that dewy finish. I've been really impressed with this formula, even with the Houston humidity. After being outside, it just stays in place all day long. I feel like this would be perfect for bridal makeup just because it's something that's really long lasting. So I'm gonna go ahead and apply some cream bronzer, some probably powder blush, and highlighter, and we'll be back. Let me go ahead and bring y'all into my pores. That way you can really see how this foundation looks up close and personal. I just love the overall finish of this foundation. I just think it's a very naturally dewy type of look. But if you're someone who prefers more of a matte look, you could always go in with her setting powder or any setting powder that you have in your collection. The very first time that I wore it, I did set it on one side just to see, and then I ended up having to go all over because it really is like a pure matte look. Whenever you set it, it reminds me a lot of the Kat Von D Lock-It Tattoo foundation, where it's just like a flat matte. I know some some people love that look. So if you're really oily and you're looking for something like that, that would be a great option for you. But not the Kat Von D Tattoo Lock-It foundation, but actually setting it with the powder. But if you're like me and you don't mind the shine, I just love like targeting just specific areas to kind of tone it down, but then letting just that dewy finish or dewy radiant finish be everywhere else. I've just been really impressed with this foundation. So just a quick rundown for the rest of my makeup. I went in with the Physicians Formula Sculpting Bronzer in the shade Toffee. For blush, I've been obsessed with Benefit Coralista lately. I used to love this one during the summer months. I kind of forgot about it. And then for my highlighter, this is a newer brand for me. It's Nomad Cosmetics. This is the Studio 54 Disco Nights Multi-Chrome Disco Lighter. In the pan, it looks like a tangerine, but on your face, it's really pretty. Just get this really nice corally golden tone. I really like it with Benefit Coralista. And then for my lips, I just went in with the Huda Beauty Trophy Wife lip liner. And then on top, I did a combination of lipstick and gloss. We have NARS Rose Cliff. And then I'm not quite sure if e.l.f. still carries this or not. It may have been a limited edition collection. If not, I'll link it down below. This was their Modern Metals, I don't know what the actual name is, Modern Metals lip gloss. Now I can definitely vouch for the all day wear where it talks about like protecting from elements and just long wear, especially here in Houston where we have a ton of humidity. I've worn this out and about and I haven't had any issues of it breaking up, even on my nose, because typically the tip of my nose, that's the first place where my makeup goes. And then I always notice it on the like lower areas of my face too, whether it's like my hands touching it or whatever, even after wearing a mask. Other foundations I've noticed whenever I take my mask off, I might have like a little bit of like an indent or a line right here. This foundation really does stay put. If you like Estee Lauder Double Wear, if you like the coverage of that, I think you would like this even more because this feels more just seamless and light on the face in comparison. So that is it for this review. I really hope you guys found it helpful. If you have any other questions, if I happen to skip anything, definitely ask me down below. I'll be happy to answer any sorts of questions. And yeah, if you guys have any other recommendations from Danessa Myricks, I would love to hear them down below. As always, thank you so much for spending part of your day with me. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe. That way we can hang out some more and I will see you in the next one. Bye.